The Game of the Year award is the most highly prestigious award that a game can win for itself, giving it praise and global recognition amongst all the other great games that come out alongside it. It feels like the Game of the Year awards have been going around forever now, and while I do think these awards are great to give some of these developers who have gone above and beyond recognition, I've always had a problem with Game Awards. Don't get me wrong, it's really cool to have players get to vote for their favorite game amongst the other nominees. It just gives you that feeling that if that game wins, it's almost like you were a part of that win. However, for the majority of people voting for their Game of the Year, or really any other award given out, most players have not played all of the nominees, especially since the games can vary so much. For example, the nominees this year are Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Hades 2, Hollow Knight Silksong, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And for me, the only one of these games I've played this year is Expedition 33, meaning if I had to vote, there is really only one option. Now, you could say this is my fault maybe for not experimenting with new releases this year, but I think it would be a fair thing to reason that a good majority of people are not going to play all of these games. I mean, even with most of these games being decently priced at this year, in total to buy all these games would be $300. Now, some of us might be able to spend that much a year. There is a lot of people who are only going to buy one or two games in a year, and with game prices only going up more and more, it could be even less that you're going to be purchasing in a year, which is why in my experience a lot of people will play old games they own or get things like PlayStation Plus Extra or Game Pass, because you get a lot more games for cheap. Well, maybe not on Game Pass anymore, but regardless, it's still less by you paying for that than buying all the games individually. My point in saying all this is that because most people won't actually play all of the nominees, it makes it difficult to get an accurate read of what the actual best game is, considering the fact that, well, if you haven't played the game, how can you tell if it's a good game or not? Instead, this is more of a popularity award, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, and I think a lot of these games are still deserving, but I think it's a small criticism I have that I feel like there is something there. It could be better, but I understand how that would be very difficult to even happen, unless they could make you like submit your Steam library or PlayStation libraries just so you can vote for games. I don't know, and even that seems like it'd be way too much, and certain games it would just be almost impossible, because how many people really are going to play all those games in a year? You know, it's just very unlikely something like that would ever even happen. Another way that I see it is that because all these genres vary so much, the average person is really just going to play like one of those, and if like you don't like a certain genre of game and you don't want to spend a lot of money on games, you're probably just never going to buy some of these games. And necessarily that's not the best thing, because I think you should be open-minded to new genres and try to play some new games that you would never normally give a chance to. I actually did that for a while and didn't play a lot of games that were outside the genres I normally played. So beginning of this year, I decided to do something different. I decided for the year of 2025, I was going to try to stray away from that strict rotation of games I played. I wanted to play a lot more games and completely finish a bunch of games I wouldn't normally play. Now, a lot of these games were not, again, like I said, from 2025. A lot of them are older games, but I did it because I feel like it's something that is necessary. I think it's something I wanted to do to expand, because I wanted to give a lot of games that I wanted to give it a chance at some point, but I just never got into a chance. And then also I wanted to just try some games like I wouldn't even think I would like, and I tried those and actually ended up liking them. So really happy with what I was able to do this year. I played a total of 17 new games that I played fully and beat. I played some multiplayer games, of course, too, like Marvel Rivals was a big one. I mean, I started that in like late 2024, but I don't know where you would consider that. But for multiplayer games, I'm not going to talk about them, because I think I want to talk more about my single player experiences, because I play a lot more single player games, because I think there's just something I'm more interested in. I'm a big story guy, so today I'm going to go over every new game I've played this year briefly, because entire breakdowns of each of these games would make this hours long. So instead I will go over them briefly, giving my general thoughts on the game, as well as how they rank compared to the other games. Also, I should mention, pretty much all these games are really good, and I enjoyed all of them, and even if they are ranked lower, it doesn't come from a place of hatred or that I just think the game's bad. Really, it just comes down to I've had more fun with these other games. And another thing I want to make clear is that even though something like Baldur's Gate 3 was probably one of the most innovative and expansive games we've ever seen, it wasn't even one of my top 10 games this year, and it's just simply because I had so much more fun with these other games, and I just enjoyed the stories more. There's just a lot more to it, I guess. I say this all to let you guys know that this isn't a constructive video about the game design, but instead the thoughts of someone who is giving more genres of games a try when I previously didn't. So let's get into my 2025 Game of the Year ranking. So my least favorite game this year was probably Borderlands 1, and I would love to give you a genuine reason on why this game is so low, but I don't know, like everything that happened in this game was a blur, and there was definitely just like a time period for me where I was playing this game and I could not remember like anything that happened, because it was all a blur. I don't know. Borderlands wasn't necessarily a bad game either. I'm sure some people really enjoy it, but like it just cooked to me. Like my humor during this game was like me talking as a Discord mod, and that was probably my favorite part of that era. See how you fare against my Uzumaki blade.
Oh my god. Wait.
You can just leave me here. No one really likes me anyways. I think Borderlands is a game that's just not for me. Especially, you know, when I'm playing with people who have played this game way more than I have. And I couldn't even tell you what the story's about. Then again, I don't think people play Borderlands for the story. I think it's more for the gameplay. But I don't know. I just wasn't the gameplay, for, at least for me personally. So it's at the bottom of my list. Next up, we have Portal, which is a fun game and that I enjoyed playing. And because of it, soon I will be playing Portal 2. But there's really not much to say about Portal. I mean, it's a fun puzzle adventure game. And I had fun with it. It's an old game, but I had a lot of fun. It's pretty short. I obviously couldn't put it any higher. And if you're wondering how it's above Borderlands 1, I don't know. I had more fun with it personally, but I just don't think it compares to every other game we have ahead. So the next game we have is Baldur's Gate 3. Now, I actually made a video about this game, and I'm not gonna lie, it's not the type of game I would normally play. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just something I was never really interested in. First of all, it builds off of D&D, and I was never interested in that at all. But I actually did want to give this game a fair chance. I played through the game, and if you are interested to see my full thoughts on that game, you can go check out the video I made on that. I thought the gameplay was actually pretty fun. I like turn-based games, so I enjoyed it. I really did. From at least from a gameplay perspective, I think what I didn't like too much about the gameplay was the fact that I was playing in multiplayer, and in multiplayer, because you have so many people, yeah, I was playing with 4 people, so I'm playing 4 players, and there's a bunch of like summons and stuff, so I feel like it would take like literally like 15 minutes to get back to my turn. And you know, not everyone's like spamming their buttons to do the move as soon as possible. Like everyone takes a minute between, maybe they're on their phone. Like it doesn't, you know, I think that's a great game maybe if you have like a coordinated team and everyone knows what they're doing. But I was playing with people who not necessarily they weren't necessarily not know what they were doing. They definitely knew more what they were doing than me, but they just weren't like, you know, we weren't trying to like fiend this game. We didn't all know what we were doing. So well, they knew way more than me, but I think that's why I wasn't a big fan of it as much. The story's also kind of whatever. I don't know. Again, I didn't do really any of the side quests, so you could say again that's on me, which is understandable. I don't know. Baldur's Gate 3 was fun. It was a great game in terms of innovation. Like I have to say, like I would have never ever looked into anything D&D, but because of this game, it got me somewhat interested, and still down to maybe try that out one day, because the game was really fun. I thought the gameplay was really good, and I had a lot of like fun moments, and there really was some funny moments that came out of this game. Yeah,
I was going to, but it says it's only smoke with the barrels.
What, here?
Inside of the golden.
Oh my god!
But it just took me so long to beat, to the point where it was so drawn out, and I wasn't really enjoying the game as much towards the end, and so I was just like, damn, like I don't know, it just wasn't great. But like I said, I wanted to finish games even games I didn't like, I was going to finish them because I really wanted to stay committed to be able to give fair ratings. And my last thing I guess I could say about Baldur's Gate is just it's a Gunner game. It's such a Gunner game. It's crazy. Like there's literally a bear. Yeah, we're not going to get into that. Up next is Split Fiction, which is a game I recently played. It's a very fun co-op game, and I had so much fun with it. The story is a little corny, but, you know, it has some good messages in there, I think. Especially, you know, with how 2 different people who are completely different every way can be friends, and you don't have to all believe the same thing in order to be close. So I thought it's a good message. Now, while does the game come off very corny? Yes, it does. But it's a great game to play with a friend, or whoever you really want to play with. If you guys were looking for a fun multiplayer game to play, this is like probably the best one. I played A Way Out. A Way Out, I liked A Way Out better, but I think I just liked the setting of Way Out more. But if I'm being honest, this game was more fun, right? A Way Out, I think, was better overall from like a story and gameplay perspective. But Split Fiction like outdoes it completely. There's a bunch of boss fights in here. It's just a very creative game. I really liked all like the puzzles that like one person has to do one thing so the other person can get in. That's a really cool idea, and especially towards the end of the game where you're like in the same area but you see different things. Like one of you guys sees the sci-fi futuristic setting and the other one sees like a fantasy setting, so you guys are looking at like 2 completely different things but are literally in the same areas, so you guys have to like work together to solve like the puzzle, which I thought was really good. I'm not gonna lie, it's a great game. I really recommend playing this with a friend if you just have it one day, and only one of you has to buy it because there's a friend pass, so literally someone buys the game, the other one can download it for free. All the games made by this developer, they've made Split Fiction, It Takes Two, and No Way Out, and all those games have been great. I actually want to play It Takes Two next. That's probably gonna be the next one I play, because I played No Way Out and I played Split Fiction. I'm gonna go for that one next. Had a lot of fun with this game. Also, the main villain, I don't know what's up with him. He's like Bruce Wayne or something. I really don't know. I really enjoyed the game. It was just it's just gameplay is just really fun. It's great. You have a lot of funny moments in that game, and it's a lot of teamwork involved. I really enjoyed it. It was really fun. And surprisingly, some of the boss fights are actually not that bad. I actually had like a good time with boss fights. I was surprised, because you wouldn't expect this game to be like good when it comes to boss fights, right? And also, like, the atmospheres are really nice. I'm a big fan of the fantasy ones more. The sci-fi ones I'm not too into, but I will say that one section where you're playing and there's like a CAPTCHA while you're riding on the motorcycle was very cool. And did I fail the CAPTCHA? Absolutely, but I don't know if you could even succeed in that. But it's just such like a cool, like, creative idea, and it's so small, but there's so much like things you can do in this. There's like a bunch of side quests and stuff. Another thing I have to say, mentioning the camera angles, there's so many camera angles in this game, like truly so much. There's, at literally every camera angle you could think of. Like, you got third person, first person. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a second person somewhere in this game. There's actually a part where one of you is playing on a 2D field and the other one is playing on like the third plane of existence, and you can like help the person in the It's so cool. I loved how creative this game was. Now, would I say it's worthy of Game of the Year? Probably not. But what it does definitely deserve is Family Game of the Year. No other family game deserves to win over Split Fiction. I'm so confident in that. So on to my next game is Doom 2016. Now, I started Doom like a long time ago, but I just never finished it. And I feel like there's not much to really say about Doom 2016. I actually wanted to play through Doom Eternal and Doom Dark Ages, and I definitely plan to do so at some point. But Doom really is just like a very good background game where you can sit back, like maybe in a party, talk to your friends, or listen to some music. It's really fun. It's very easy to get into. I like the fights. I like the enemies. There's a bunch of gore. It's pretty good for what it is. The end boss is a little lackluster. Doom 2016 and Split Fiction to me are very similar in the fact that, like, sure, I mean, one's like, like this brutal, like, killing all aliens and stuff, and the other one's like, a fantasy game. But in terms of how they play, they're very similar, honestly. Like, they're just kind of games that you can kind of tune out the story and can just enjoy the gameplay and have it as like a background game. It's really good. Now, Split Fiction, you have to pay a little bit more attention to the story, but just trust me, the story's nothing crazy. You're really not missing out on much. I'm talking about Split Fiction again, but it was really good. I really enjoyed Split Fiction. Probably, maybe more than Doom. I don't know. I think Doom is a better game, so I put it above it. But I don't know much, again, for me to say about Doom. It's a really good game, but it's Doom. Like, what do you want me to say? Next up, we have Miles Morales, which is the sequel to Spider-Man 2018, and it just pretty much builds upon that game with its unique gameplay as Miles. You can go invisible, and you have electricity, which is pretty cool. I think it was a cool way to shake up the Spider-Man formula, because obviously pretty much every Spider-Man game there ever was, you have the same moves all the time, and there's not much you can really do about that. It's a much shorter game, but it's still really fun. And I actually enjoyed a lot of the boss fights more, I think, in Miles Morales than 2018. It's very cinematic, and like 2018 had a lot of iconic recreations of Spider-Man, like at the end where Miles' identity is being revealed to the people nearby and they keep a secret. Really like that. Big fan of the atmosphere. Love the snowy New York. It's really beautiful, and even though it's the same location as 2018, I mean, it's a Spider-Man game, like obviously it's gonna be New York, so I don't really understand that criticism personally, but it is really great, and it explores new areas that we just don't see nearly as much in the first game. And I liked the sacrifice ending. It was good. 2018 might be a little better, but I liked Miles Morales' ending more, I think. I don't know. I just really liked the new addition to Spider-Man. I'm a big fan of Miles Morales in general. Big fan of the movies. When are we going to get the third one? Truly no idea. Probably like 2078. I wouldn't be surprised. But shout out Miles Morales, I guess. Spider-Man 2018 is my next one, and I have to say, from a big Arkham fan, I love the combat in this game. Probably even more than the Arkham games, if I'm being honest, because Spider-Man just has a lot more powers and stuff. He just the fact that he has the webs, like, you wouldn't think it adds that much, but just webs alone make the combat feel so much more smooth. I also made a video about this game, and like I said, I did enjoy the game. It was, again, it took me 7 years to play this game. Finally did this year, and and I really did enjoy it. Also, another thing I have to mention I really liked was the suits. Big fan of the suits. There was a lot of them in this game, and there wasn't as much in Miles Morales, which I didn't really bring up, but I did want to bring that up now. I really liked that you could switch the powers of the suits, and so you could always use suits that you didn't really want to use, but you wanted their power, because, you know, you want them to look cool, but you don't really want to use a suit that doesn't look good, right? Also, another thing I should bring up is the web swinging. I didn't bring it up in Miles Morales, but that's because the web swing system is pretty much the same. Big fan of Spider-Man 2018's web swing system. It feels so smooth to go around the city. Again, coming from an Arkham fan, I really do like the whole gliding with the cape, and especially in Arkham Knight. I think Arkham Knight did it the best because you can like launch really fast and like glide for longer. I do like it. It's fun, but if I'm being honest, Spider-Man's is just more fun because you get to swing through the city more. There's way more moves you can do, and I did hear it gets improved in Spider-Man 2. So when I end up playing Spider-Man 2 finally, I will hopefully be impressed with the new swinging system because I've really heard that it gets improved on a lot. I thought this one was good. It's just missing something. I can't even explain what it is. It's just missing something that I feel like it could be like just a little bit faster, but it needs something. I don't know what it is. Oh, and I'm still not over the MJ missions. The MJ missions are probably the worst part about this game. Okay, so next up we have Dead Space. The Dead Space 1 remake is 100% a Resident Evil clone, but just in space. But the setting of this game is peak. The aliens designs are so cool. The fact that the way they work is that you have to cut off the limbs to kill them is just such great design that like someone like, I don't know, whoever made that idea, like genuinely 2000 IQ, because it plays so well. From a gameplay perspective, it's fun, but also from like a story perspective, like world building, it makes so much sense because, okay, you play as Isaac, right? He's an engineer and doesn't use real guns. He instead he uses mining equipment, which is, you know, much better for cutting off limbs. And the worst gun in the game that you can have with him is an actual gun, which is just, again, really good world building because the hundreds of soldiers that would have been on board the ship that are supposed to be protecting everybody would have been using those guns, which is why they would have died so easily to them. And it's something just like as small as that, as like, you know, the engineer had actually had like a better chance because he's gonna cut off the limbs. Oh, it's actually great. I love that part of the game. I love like world building like that in games, and Dead Space did like a great job of that. Like truly, it was amazing. And the enemies were all fun. I liked the boss fights. They were really cool, especially like, bro, going like zero gravity in a lot of these sections are so fire. Like, no, actually big fan of Dead Space, and I didn't think I would like it too much, honestly. I honestly really didn't think I would, because my thing is always like, I enjoy the Resident Evil games, but I always feel like there's something missing to them. Now, would I say Dead Space is better than a lot of the Resident Evil games I played? Maybe honestly, maybe a few. I really enjoyed Dead Space. It was really good. It also had the thing about the whole time your wife was dead, and you know, the entire game had a lot of indicators that something was wrong with her, and it's only at the end of the game like that we find out it was like the marker that once that gets destroyed, that was what was making Isaac see things and imagine that she's alive, but she was actually dead for a long time. So I actually really did like that. Very cool little twist, and I'm happy I played the remake first instead of the original, because I know a lot of people say, oh, play the original and then play the remake, but if you play the original, like, he doesn't even talk, like Isaac doesn't talk, and that just seems like I'd much rather play this game. Also, the graphics look amazing on this game, and again, the atmosphere is just so good. Everything looks so good. So next up we have GTA 4. Now, this was probably one of my most played games back in the day on Xbox 360, and I was excited, really excited to play it, actually, and I went in hearing the story was much darker than GTA 5, which I'll say it's true, but it's not like insanely darker, and I think a big part of that is the writing and the characters in the story really aren't like amazing. Like, I mean, sure, they're good, they're not like bad or anything. I think they have a lot of good moments, especially when you like really look deep into it, but it's just not as impressive as I would have hoped. I really, again, I don't want to, you know, get that twisted. I did enjoy the game a lot, and I thought the story was solid, but again, you have to realize, because of how limited GTA 4 was back in the day, it couldn't be as good as it could have been. Now, don't get me wrong, if the game came out today, I think it could be insane, which is why I'm really excited for GTA 6. And my reasoning for that is, I feel like GTA has never really had like great storytelling. The first game I think that had really great storytelling from Rockstar is Red Dead Redemption 2. I mean, they got better in GTA 5, but Red Dead Redemption 2 was just like out of the park, like probably the best writing they've ever had for a game. So much world building, so much character character development. There's like side mission, everything about Red Dead. I'm not talking about Red Dead 2 right now, peak game, but GTA 4 has a lot of potential. I still think it's good. I had a lot of fun. Like it's just the fact alone of the atmosphere of this game, and I'm gonna talk about atmosphere a lot of these games because they really are good. But the atmosphere of GTA 4 really captures like that dark and gloomy setting of like a 2008 New York, and love the soundtrack of this game. One thing I do want to mention is the car movement is weird, and maybe because I was on PC, I don't really know, but like it took so long to take turns, like you really had to brake like completely if you wanted to turn. Now some people might say, oh, it's supposed to be more realistic. Listen, if you ever drove a car in real life, I promise you it's not more realistic that you can't turn the wheel more. You definitely could. It's just for some reason in this game you can't turn more, so not a fan of that. And you could say, oh, well, if you turn the car too much while you're driving, the car would flip. Okay, well, you make me flip then. I don't care. Just make me able to turn more, because I can control that better than just literally having to spin all the way to the right and I'm moving like an inch to the right. Yeah, I don't know. Again, and I just want to make it clear that the story was still pretty good again, and for a game for 2008, it was really good. And Niko Bellic is one of the best GTA protagonists we've had in the series, so shout out Niko Bellic. Oh, and shout out Hot Coffee Easter egg. I'm a big fan of the Telltales, The Walking Dead, specifically Season 1, so I was pretty excited to play a game made by a lot of the ex-Telltale devs that got their own creative liberties in this game. And I have to say, right off rip, amazing character writing and designs. Every character is just written so well. Like, all of them are written so well. I care about, like, all these characters. And it's crazy because it's one game, but they were all just done so well. And not only that, I said it again, and not only that, the designs were great. Like, I love the designs of every character, and I really just enjoyed the small things. Like, for example, in Visigal, her power is turning invisible, but she can only be invisible while she's holding her breath, which, you know, that sounds not too bad. Like, it's reasonable, but then also she has asthma, so it's a very dangerous thing for her to use. But it's just such a great idea for a character. Now, have someone done that before? Maybe, I don't know, but it was the first time me hearing it, so I love that. And there were so many characters like that. Like, you had Punch Up, and he's the strength of 10 men, but he's also like 3'2". All these characters are just written so well, and I love the designs of these characters. And also, because this was an indie game, the voice actors are not all like professional voice actors. A lot of these guys are just, random people. We literally had 2 YouTubers. We had Moist Critical and Jacksepticeye as Sonar and Punch Up, which, again, both great characters, but the voice acting from them I was really impressed with. I'm not gonna lie, because like these guys are not necessarily like these guys aren't voice actors, but they did a great job. The one person that I have to give the most credit to, and it's not Laura Bailey or Aaron Paul, even though they also did great, right? They did great, but these guys are voice actors. I'm expecting a top tier performance. Now, it's not to downplay what they did, but because of course they did a great job. They did the best job probably out of anyone in this game, but that's, again, just because they're really good at what they do. But the one for me that I think did the best by far was the Prism voice actor, aka Thought Squad. Now, from my knowledge, Thought Squad is she's a rapper. Like, she doesn't do any voice acting, but if she's not doing that now, she needs to get more into it, because she did a great job. I don't know what it was exactly, but she just felt so real. Like, her character just felt real. There was no, oh, this is her doing a voice. Like, no, she felt so real, and I thought she did a great job. Prism, probably one of my favorite characters in this game, not only from a character perspective, but also just the how useful she was. She literally would duplicate anyone you put for the gameplay perspective. And I know the gameplay is not like a big part of this game, obviously, but it does take up like a pretty significant amount of time, and she like cooked the entire game. Loved her for that. She also has very iconic moments like the
She temporarily blinded me! What you mean temporarily? Bitch, you blind forever!
And I really enjoyed that whole fact that they allowed so many people who are non-voice actors to voice act, because while part of it was a budget thing, and I know that when this game was being made, it was they would just use all connections they knew, because they didn't have the budget to hire all these high quality of people, and that's understandable. Like, you guys are an indie game, so the fact that they were just able to use like connections they've made did a great job. Now let's talk about the story, because I'm a big story guy, as I've mentioned before. The story of Dispatch, I'm gonna be honest, kind of mid overall. The overarching story, I don't know, it just wasn't great. Sure, don't get me wrong, it wasn't bad or anything. It was just pretty like average story. I don't think the story of Dispatch itself with Shroud and Robert getting revenge for that, it's just pushed so far in the back. But the story is pretty average. The whole thing with Robert and his dad avenging him and Shroud, let's be honest, that gets pushed so far in the back, it doesn't even really matter. It's really just, the only thing we get of it is episode 1 and episode 8, and that's it. I guess you could say there's the one episode where Chase goes into a coma, and it's, oh no, but like even then he's really not there. Another thing I have to talk about, this story of this game I wasn't the biggest fan of, is literally no one dies. The only character who can die in this game is Shroud, the main villain. I mean, can we be so for real right now? Like that's the only character who can die the entire game. No decisions you make can cause anyone to die, which is so surprising to me because this is a game that was never supposed to have a sequel. So I'm so surprised they didn't just kill off more characters, you know? I'm not saying kill everybody to make it more interesting, but the biggest example I give of this is Chase. We had a setup for him to die. We had the moment he had with Robert. We had him calling out Invisigal the entire time, saying that she's no good and that she'll never be a hero. But then afterwards, he talks to Robert about it and says that why is it that we do the things we do? And he ends up telling her, or Robert ends up telling him, depending on your choice, but basically convincing him, oh, well, we do it because it's the right thing to do. People need help sometimes, and right? And then he sees the point, and he's like, you know what, you're right. Maybe I was wrong about going off on Invisigal. And then when he has to sacrifice his life for Invisigal, he makes that choice, knowing if he does it by using his powers, he is going to die. And I thought this was great writing. I was like, oh, this is pretty good. Now, did I have like this crazy attachment to Chase? No, because this game was very short, and I feel like we didn't really have a lot of time with him. A big criticism I have about this game is, as good as it can be, a lot of its middle sections are just like filler. Like, it's just gameplay, which the gameplay is not even really like great. I think like this game would have done a lot better if they just ignored the like actual gameplay sections entirely and instead just had like more of the cutscenes, because that's what I wanted to watch. And I know the budget was definitely really small, and if they do a sequel, I'm sure it'll be like way bigger than it was this time. I thought it was very lame that we had this big setup for Chase to die and he didn't die. Like, he's just alive. He literally just lives, and there's no point of it. And I guess you could say, oh well, at the end, you know, that it was good because you know, it was the way they had to beat Shroud because of something they didn't expect. Yeah, listen, I get that, right? But there's other ways around that too, let's be honest. And also, just like, no one else dies in this game. At least one character should definitely die, and nobody other than Shroud. And that's an optional choice, by the way. Shroud could just not die. I don't know. I really enjoyed this game, but the story was kind of whatever for me. What I think was great about Dispatch, and why I loved it so much, was the message of the importance of forgiveness is extremely good. This entire game, first of all, is about the Z team and Robert basically reforming them into being better people and being better heroes. And despite all the bad things they've done, he is there to saying he believes in them, that he believes they could be better. And eventually, at the end of the game, they do better. They stop, you know, Shroud from, I don't even know what he was doing, being a monkey, I guess. I don't know. He's like climbing around and stuff. And this is most clear by far with Invisigal. And overall, I feel like Dispatch had one of the great communities like of all time, and it's crazy because this is a choice-based game, and you know, this is sometimes a toxic fan base, but it was actually really good with Dispatch. And I think it's just because this game, like, it just felt so close to home. Like, it had a bunch of YouTubers in there, had a bunch of non-voice actors voice acting, and even though those people aren't, you know, us or anything, I think that a reason why we will watch a lot of these guys or pay attention to a lot of these guys' content is because, you know, we enjoyed it. And so seeing someone that we enjoy in a game is just really cool to see. Again, big fan of Jacksepticeye, big fan of Moist Critical, and again, seeing them in this game was great. That's the first thing I saw about this game, and is why I wanted to play it immediately. So I was really happy to see them. This game's, from a community perspective, was great. Another criticism I'll say, I wish the game was longer. I think it was way too short. If you take out all the gameplay sections, it's like, genuinely, this game's like 5 hours long, I feel like. It's so short, which is so unfortunate, because every single cutscene in this game is great. All the decisions, I had a lot of fun with them, but I just didn't like how short it was. It's very unfortunate. And again, I guess indie game, but they did do a really good job, and I will not hate on that at all, because I really thought it was a great game and one of my favorite this year. So shout out Dispatch. So God of War 1 and God of War 2. Now, these were some of my favorite games this year, and you wouldn't think a game this old could be this good, but these two games specifically were great. I love these two games, and just really everything in these games just felt like so good. Like, first of all, just the fact that it was like the old PS2 games felt really good to play again. And I was playing on PS5. I was playing through the stream service, and I was a little worried that I wouldn't be able to play that good because, like, you know, delay and stuff. But honestly, the game was pretty solid, and I was really happy about that. There wasn't much delay, surprisingly. So shout out PlayStation for that. I had so much fun with these games. Just like everything about God of War is just something I love. Like it has that feeling of like Doom, where it's like, oh, you could just kind of play and you don't have to like think too much. But there's like there's like puzzle solving, and the gore is great in that game. It's so satisfying, especially the Blades of Chaos are really good, and I love them so much. The boss fights are probably the peak of this, though. I mean, you have the Ares boss fight and the Hydra boss fight. I had a lot of fun in both these games. I think I have God of War 2 just slightly above God of War 1, and the only reason I really have for that is because the game was just harder and I had more fun with it. But I think that's just because the first game, you know, it was their first attempt, right? So obviously it was their first attempt. So obviously I'm not expecting the first game to be as good as the second. I still have to give it to God of War 2 because it was just really good. These games are both really good. And again, I don't have much to say about these two games, unfortunately, because while they were great, I don't know, very similar to Doom. The only reason why I'm able to, you know, put it this high is just because they were just so fun and so addicting. Like, I wanted to play through these games like all the time. Okay, so into my top 5. At the number 5 spot, we have Dying Light: The Beast. Dying Light 1 was one of my favorite games of all time, and I have to say that off rip, so I'm a little biased, but I love Dying Light. And I thought Dying Light: The Beast was a great sequel to both Dying Light 1 and Dying Light 2. It takes the combat and parkour of Dying Light 2, expands on it even more, and puts it into a Dying Light 1-like setting, which is perfect, because I think the biggest problem a lot of people had with Dying Light 2 was the setting was not great. It didn't feel like Haran in Dying Light 1, and how dark and scary it can be. This game can be very dark and very scary, especially at nighttime when volatiles are chasing you. Oh, I love Dying Light: The Beast. All the systems feel really good, and they actually did the truck system really good, which I was kind of surprised, because the fact that we're gonna have trucks and parkour and in like a city, I was like, that might not be good. But there's actually a lot of times where you just kind of run to a truck just because it's there, but if it's not there, it's not a big deal. You can just parkour. I thought, like, it was really good. It was actually surprisingly good, and they implemented like all of the features super well together. So I really did like that. The game looks beautiful, by the way. I talked about the atmosphere just a little bit, but the atmosphere is amazing in this game. The graphics look great. I was surprised, I'm not gonna lie. Like, not that Dying Light 1, Dying Light 2 don't have their moments, but this was just like on a whole nother level. And where I really enjoyed it was the cinematic cutscenes being in third person for the first time ever. Every single cutscene up until this point in Dying Light has been first person. And while I'm not going to sit here and say, like, I thought it was like the best cinematography ever, I thought they did a really good job, and I thought it was surprisingly good. And maybe it's because I'm not used to seeing that in a Dying Light game, but I don't know, something about it in this game, it just looks so good, and I was so happy to see that. I also liked the you know, the little play on words thing where it's like, oh, the beast is Crane, because you're beasting out, but realistically Crane isn't the beast. It's actually talking about Aiden being the beast. Also, Aiden looks so different in this game. I'll just throw that out there. If you can believe it, I actually had a competent final boss, which you can do in multiplayer, which I actually had a lot of fun with, because both games you couldn't do the last fight in multiplayer. It was both single player only, so I'm happy that was a thing we saw. And the GRE are alive somehow. I don't really know how that makes sense, but I still enjoyed the last fight a lot, even though I remember we were getting cooked for a long time. But I've really enjoyed this game. I thought it was really good, and I'm really excited to see what they do with Following 2. I thought this game was so good, but one problem I do have with this game, and it is the story, because the story started pretty good, and I actually was enjoying it for like genuinely like the first like 70% of it. I thought it was like really good. Where this game 100% falls off for me is when they start doing like the telepathic walkers that can talk to anybody who's infected, and I don't know, that was weird. I thought that was a weird way to go with the story, especially when there's like sections, especially at the end of the game, where the lady will hold all of them off and they won't be able to see you. You could just walk right by all of them. I thought that was so weird. I don't think it fits Dying Light at all. It's too much into this like weird like alien sci-fi I didn't like it. I thought it was just just lame. I think there was much better ways to go about it. I feel like this entire section is completely unnecessary. So that's the only thing I will say I did not like about the story. And it sucks that happens like towards the end, because like the rest of the game I thought was really good. It was just that part I did not like. And there is one other thing I did not like about the story, and it's what they did with Spike. Spike was in Dying Light 1. We hear some crazy lore about him on how he survived, and he brought all the people out of Haran and saved them, and we see him again in Dying Light 2 with Aiden. We only see him at the beginning and the end of the game, and we barely even get to see him. He's such a small part of the game, which is unfortunate because we literally never get to see him at all. And he could have told us so much about Haran, but like he just wasn't there, which is so unfortunate. But I was like, okay, well, we see him in this game. Oh, this is great. But there's one problem. We see Spike in the last, technically second to last cutscene of this game. And what does he do in this last scene of his? He dies immediately. He says, "Sorry about that, Crane." And then he just gets his throat slit. Now, I'm not against Spike dying personally. I don't even think he's not like an insane character or anything, but it was cool to see him. The problem with Spike dying was he had no character at that point. Like he just saw Crane again and died immediately, which is so stupid because he was literally looking for Crane, and I don't know why would they do this whole thing about like, oh, they're gonna meet up with each other again just for him to die immediately. Spike 100% could have died, but the problem was we only saw him for like a minute and then he died. He should have came back at the start of this game or like at the halfway point. He should have came earlier. It makes no sense to introduce him at the end just to kill him off immediately. Other than they had no idea what to do with this guy, so they just killed him off. That's my only problem with this game. Yeah, I guess the story was kind of whatever. Everything else was great, and I really can't wait to see what they do for DLC, because Dying Light, they are always great with their DLC. Coming in at the number 4 spot, we have Ghost of Tsushima, and Ghost of Tsushima was one of those games that I wanted to play, but I just never got to it. Like, I knew it was going to be that kind of, you know, samurai setting, but you know, with a story, and I was interested in playing it for a while. I just, for some reason, again, just didn't play it, but finally got to it this year. First thing I want to talk about, it's something so small, but the wind guiding you as a navigation system is like actually peak. Like, I don't know who thought this was going to be the way they were going to navigation in this game, but it's actually perfect. The reason why I like it so much is because it not only fits gameplay really well, but it also fits the story and the character. Like, the wind's supposed to be his ancestors guiding him, which is just a very cool design choice. Most games that have like a navigation system, it's pretty much the same thing. You have like a map and a mini map, and there's like a line that you follow, like GTA or Red Dead or something like that. There's like a line on a map and you just follow it, and that's how you get to where you're supposed to go. But in this, it's literally just like the wind will blow and you can see where you have to go, and you can toggle the wind anytime, so you'll never be lost on where you're going. Such a cool way of taking like an old navigation system and just kind of reinventing it. And something as simple as just like, oh, the wind's gonna point in the direction all the time. It's like a compass basically, but you know, again, instead of just being like a compass or something, it's the wind, and it's like his ancestors guiding him. It's a very, very cool design choice. And speaking of it looking good, I mean, it has a great art style and a great atmosphere. Probably one of the best looking games, especially this was a 2020 game, so this was like one of the first games to come for the PS5, and it really does look great. I liked a lot of just how this game looked. It's just really a beautiful game. And after playing this game, like, I 100% have to play Yotai. After I beat like the other games I have for the rest of this year, I would definitely be going to Yotai, because Yotai does look very cool. And can I just say, this has got to be the best samurai game of all time. I've not played a better samurai game than this. Not that I've played a lot of samurai games necessarily, but like, if I was like, oh, I want a samurai game, like Ghost of Tsushima, if anyone asks, this is the game you recommend them, because it's just really good. And for the message of this game, which I really did enjoy, was the breaking away from the traditional samurai values in order to become a better person. I think it tells us that sometimes just because we believe in the teachings our parents gave us does not mean necessarily that you cannot break away from those values, especially when choosing not to would cause harm to yourself or many other people. Sometimes making that hard choice is the choice you have to make. And at the number 3 spot, we have God of War 3. Easily one of my favorite God of War games of all time, and this was a very addicting game. Like, I was playing God of War 1 and 2 before this, and while they were great, don't get me wrong, when I got to God of War 3, I was just like, wow, this is a different level of God of War. I loved all the boss fights in this game so much more than the previous games. They're all very cinematic. The whole game is just 24/7 cinematic. And in a game where you're supposed to have this like power fantasy, this game does it like almost perfectly. I don't know how anyone could have done this better than what they did with God of War 3. It was actually just so good. And for a game that came out on the PS3, it's just an unfortunate thing that I didn't get to play this game until now, because I feel like I missed out when this was in its prime. But From a story perspective, I think it's interesting. I still don't know how Kratos survives God of War 3. I'm going to be honest. But it did make me want to replay 2018 and Ragnarok because I haven't played those games for a while. I played Rag at launch in 2018, like a few years before that. So it's been a while, so I might head back and try to go replay those games because God of War 3 made me want to play it so badly. I think what I really liked about God of War 3 was just like seeing a peak young Kratos. It's just so different. And like, you know, like while I knew this was part of his character, I played like mostly just 2018 and Rag, and like those were the games that I finished. I played the older games like in the past, but like I never finished them. I just played them for a little bit, and that was about it. So seeing like a peak Kratos, and this is like literally his prime, I just thought it was really good. The gameplay of this game is just insane. It just feels so much better than like any game that came before it, and the art style is like my favorite. I think the God of War 3 art style is my favorite out of the entire God of War series. I really just don't think there's anything that tops it. Like, sure, 2018 Rag have better graphics for sure, but I mean, bro, this game's art style is insane. It just looks beautiful, and I love it. And it's, again, crazy. This is a PS3 game, and it just looks so good. Something I like specifically from the art style is just the fire. I don't know, flames in this game just look so good, and since you have the Blades of Chaos, you get to see things on fire like always. And this was the game that also had the different Chaos blades. Like, it had the Blades of Chaos, but it had the Blades of Hades, and all these. There's like 4 different types. I can't remember them all off the top of my head, but they're really good. And bro, Hades boss fight. Speaking of Hades boss fight was cool. It was like the second fight of the game or something like that. Like, they really went all out with this game. And, you know, like I said, the story is good. It's nothing crazy, but I really did enjoy it. And it's like probably the only games that's this high that it can just not have a good, like, a insane story, and I wouldn't care, because it's just, the gameplay is just so fun. I really don't think there's I really am curious now to replay 2018 and see if I think this game's better than 2018 or Rag. It's just been so long since I played the old game, so I really don't know. But I really enjoyed this game, and that's why I think it deserves number 3. At number 2, we have a game that I would have probably never played before this year, but I'm so happy this is the game I decided to play, because, as you know, if you're watching this video now, you know that Expedition 33 won the actual Game of the Year award, as well as like 6 other awards. Like, it wasn't even the Game Awards, it was the Expedition 33 awards. And I've never really played a game like this. This is not something I personally would ever play, but I'm so happy I did, because something about this game was great. I mean, from everything, first of all, this is an indie game, right? And for an indie game to be this well, I would have thought this was, I honestly thought this was a AAA game, and I found it was an indie game, and I was surprised. Expedition 33 is actually also the only game on my entire list that was nominated for Game of the Year awards, and while a lot of the games I played were from previous years, right, not made in 2025, it's still, I personally think it makes sense that this game won a Game of the Year, because while I have not played any of the other games, I can see why this is a contender for sure. I really enjoyed this game. It expanded on turn-based combat. I'm a big fan of Pokemon, and so playing a game like this where I get to parry and block, and it was a lot of fun. I really didn't know if I was going to like this game at first, especially just because, like, the setting, I don't know, the story was great, and I remember up until the point where you find out that this is in like a painted canvas, I was like, wow, this is a great story so far. Like, it's a solid story. Like, it's nothing insane, but it was, you know, it was good. I was enjoying it. But when I got to the part where we find out like that everyone's painted and it's not really real, I was like kind of turned off from the story at that point. It was weird. I was like, I don't know. It seems kind of lame. Like, why would they even add this? Like, I don't know, right? And so I was thinking about that. But then when I got to the end of the game, that's really when I just, like, I put everything together. I'm like, wow, no, this is peak. Because, I don't know, just everything with Verso and Mael, it was just peak, literally peak cinema. I think this game has a great story about learning to let go of people, as staying with them is only going to hurt both people in the end. And like I said, I was kind of iffy on the story until the end with Verso wanting to end his life and Mael not allowing him to. And for the one big choice moment they had at the end, I thought it was a pretty good one, even though I picked Verso, and I think it could be universally agreed that Verso is the one ending that is correct. I mean, if you choose the Mael ending, he just continues to continue existing, and I think it can be universally agreed that Verso's ending is the correct ending, considering he's the one who's being punished in some in-between world between reality and death, keeping him forced to stay alive for at least over 100 years. And selfishly, she tries to keep him alive. But I like that she is a very realistic character. And even if she is selfish, a lot of us would, in her position, probably do the same thing. And it's not even just her, it's her entire family. I mean, her dad starts fighting for it to end. But it's just I think a great story that a lot of people would be okay with that decision that Mael made, even if in reality it's not necessarily the right choice. But I think what's important to note is that it's more important to decide what the victim wants, being Verso, because at the end of the day, it's his life and not hers. So much stuff in this game was great, but I just really want to focus on the story here because I think it was just really good. I think that I was kind of thrown off course of what was happening because this game told like basically two different stories in one. Like, it gave us the story of the expeditions being sent out, and they don't know why the world, every year they turn a certain age, they just all die. It's never really explained why in the beginning, and we're just kind of confused. You kind of just go through the game not really knowing why things happen. You just kind of realize, like, well, I guess that's just some entity we don't know, then it's killing people. And that story I think was good, but then it flips it and it's like, well, that was the story, but that's not the real story that's going on, and the real story is 10 times better than the original. I just really enjoyed the story of this game. It was really good, and I was surprised because, again, a game that I would see like this, like personally, like when I would see a game like Expedition 33 come out, I would see it and I'd be like, oh yeah, it's a turn-based game, and I would just never play it, and I would never expect it to have a good story. I would expect to play this game and it would just be like a pure gameplay thing. But I'm so happy I actually played it because the story was genuinely 10 out of 10. And if there's any more games like Expedition 33 out there that are similar in story, I gotta play them because it was just great. Also, you know, gotta say, voice acting was great. There was so much content in this game, like genuinely so much. I didn't even do a lot of the side content. I did mostly just story stuff because that's really what I was invested in when I was playing. But I know there's a DLC that literally launched on the Game Awards tonight, which was like a shadow drop too. It wasn't even like a pre-announced thing. Like, they knew they were gonna win at that point because they literally just waited to the end to say it. So I thought that was really cool. I really enjoyed this game. I'm so happy I played it. And yeah, if you guys have not played this game, even though you might have just got spoiled, definitely play it. It's a great game. And for the number one spot, there's only one game that could possibly take this, and it's Silent Hill 2 Remake. Okay, so first of all, Silent Hill 2 was my first Silent Hill, and before I talk about anything else in this game, it has one of the most amazing soundtracks in all of video games, truly. It is the point where this game has given me a soundtrack that was in my top 2 most played albums on my Spotify Wrapped, which is insane. Now, I will say, in all fairness, part of this is because I was recording the audio on Spotify for Silent Hill 2, and I was, recording it so I can put it in videos. And if you checked any of my videos in the past year, you'll notice I have Silent Hill 2 music in almost all of them. Pretty much all of them have Silent Hill 2 music in them, and it's just because the soundtrack is just so good. But it's crazy that even so, that it would end up that high because it was just that good to me. I really enjoyed it. I even made a video on Silent Hill 2 already, and so if you haven't seen that, I recommend it. But with Silent Hill 2, it's a Resident Evil gameplay styled game, but with more difficult puzzles, I would say. And what I really love about this game is just the storytelling and the way that the game goes about it. So most storytelling in games would be like, you have like just a cutscene and it explains things, a cutscene after that. But this game, a lot of the storytelling is giving the player so many different hints throughout the story, and as the player, you kind of have to put it all together, which I just feel like is just peak storytelling, which I really can't remember a lot of games that this happens in, but Silent Hill 2 does it like almost perfectly. You have enemies that represent things like, there's the nurse, and the nurse is a sexualized enemy that has no face, and that's supposed to represent James's sexual desires that he wants not just Mary anymore, because Mary is sick, Mary being his wife. You have the lying figures, which are sick, disgusting creatures, which is how James sees Mary. Like Pyramid Head, the biggest example of them all, being the definition of judgment, what James feels like he needs to be judged by. James is a great protagonist that just feels really relatable and very reasonable throughout the entire game, until the end where we find out the truth of who he is and what he really did. And not not only do I have to say this game is great from a writing perspective, but more specifically the character writing. I think just every character in this game is written really well, and they are made to fit each other perfectly, because James is already great, but there's also Eddie and Angela, which there's Eddie, which represents a more aggressive side of James, and there's Angela, which represents more of the more cowardice side. I almost don't want to fully give anybody the full story in this video in case you are watching and have not played this game, just because of how much I really did enjoy this game. If you have not played it, I truly do recommend it. I truly do recommend it, and so I don't even really want to spoil the game here. I kind of spoil it in my other videos, so maybe keep away from that if you are going to play it, because the story just the story is really what makes this game so good to me, and I really enjoyed the entire thing. It was another one of those things with me where in Expedition 33, like a lot of the game, I thought, oh, it's a good story, and then at the end I was like, wow, this is peak. There's another thing that kind of happened with me with Silent Hill 2. Like throughout the story, it's like fine. It's nothing crazy, you know. It just seems like a standard story. It feels like a Resident Evil game in a lot of ways. But when you get to like that last like 15-20% of the game and everything starts coming together, it is like actually peak. Because then you go back and you look at everything you saw throughout the game and you just realize how great everything was set up. And what's insane to me is this was a game that came out in 2001, and sure, this is a remake, but this is a remake of that game, and the story is literally the same. I think there's very small differences, but it's nothing too changing of the story. Everything's pretty much the exact same, and that's so crazy to me because this was a game made so long ago, and yet I think this story is better than no. I think this game has the best story out of any other game I've ever played. I don't think there's any game that tops it. It's just really, really good. Something I also really enjoyed is just that there's no definitive ending to the game. Like there's a bunch of different endings, and while some of them are more meme endings, like, you know, the ending with the dog, I think that the two main options though is the fact that, and I'll try my best not to spoil it, but there's one option where James can be redeemed, and then one option where he cannot be redeemed. I remember after I finished this game, like I'm telling you, like my reaction to this game was like I was staring at the screen and I was just like, damn, that really just happened. Like I couldn't even believe what I was watching. It was crazy. Like, I was just like staring at my screen. I watched the entire credits. I didn't skip it or anything. Because I had to just sit there for a minute and just think and like just watch those credits, because truly the devs that made this game deserve those credits to be watched. Silent Hill 2 is not even just a game of the year for me, but it's also easily a top 5 game for me of all time. And honestly, even a top 3, I really don't know. Like there's very, very few games that could ever really top this game for me, but Silent Hill 2 is definitely up there. So I'm really happy that I got to play this game this year, because while it was something I, again, probably would have never played, I can't believe that I would have missed out on this game. And that's why the whole point of this video, my whole point of playing all these different games that I did this year, was I really have to expand the games that I would normally play, because Silent Hill 2 is another game I probably would have never played. By giving this game a chance, I found easily one of my favorite games of all time. And I never would have found it if it wasn't for that ability to not judge a game at first and just not buy it because, well, I don't want to play it. Instead of just keeping an open mind and playing a lot of these games. All of the games I played this year were really good. The only one I truly didn't like was Borderlands 1. And while I didn't like Borderlands 1, I still don't think it was a bad game, but it was just the one I had the least amount of fun with. And before I go, I just want to say that I think something really important that I've learned throughout the year of just playing all these different games is just you kind of have to keep an open mind with these things, because stick to the same few games every year and don't really expand off them, because that's exactly how I was until this year. And I think being open-minded to a lot of these great games, anytime you hear someone say, oh, this is a great game, that's great, but maybe it's a game you yourself were like, oh, I don't want to play this game looks bad, it has this, I think you should genuinely give it a chance. I mean, there's a lot of people out there, there's like I think different sections of people who play games, but I think the saddest section for me is the Call of Duty and the 2K community, because those are two communities where I think a lot of those people will get on the game, they'll play like sports games like 2K, Madden, FIFA, and Call of Duty. Maybe Fortnite or something like that. Like, they have a very narrow selection of games, and they just think, like, those are the best games of all time. Like, GTA is another one. Listen, I really enjoy GTA, but you have to open yourself up to some more of these gaming experiences, or you're just going to miss out on a lot of them. And so if you're somehow here, and you're somehow one of these people who, for the most part, keeps very narrow-minded thoughts on what games you should play, I really suggest opening up your mind on, and I really suggest opening up your catalog of games that you try out, because there's so many great games out there, and just sticking to one game is just not the way to go. I would know. I mean, listen, a lot of what goes on this channel is Call of Duty Zombies stuff, and while I have fun with Call of Duty Zombies, it's definitely not the only game I like. It is a game that is fun, yes, but there's just so many better games than it, and even with Black Ops 7 being a game that honestly is better than a lot of the previous installments, for sure. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I have to be honest, it's really nothing special. It's better than it has been for a long time, but compared to really almost any game on this list, it's just not even close. Like, I'd rather play almost any game on here, except for, again, Borderlands. But anyways, yeah, that's all I really got for you guys, and this is kind of a long video, so if you did make it this far, I appreciate you for watching. This is a video I just really wanted to make, not even necessarily because I'm like, oh, people need to see what I think, but it's just more of a, I guess for me, just kind of I was happy that I'm like, wow, it's a good thing that I was able to expand so much in this year, and in the future play more games that I would have never played. I think my goal with 2025 about to be finished, I think my goal for the rest of the year is, well, to finish the games I have. That being, right now I'm playing Cyberpunk, and after Cyberpunk I'm going to be playing Silent Hill F, which will definitely be getting a video, because if Silent Hill 2 is this great, I mean, come on, I gotta make one on F. What I really want to do for 2026 is play more of the games that are going to be releasing in 2026. A lot of the games that will most likely be nominations in the Game Awards, because I feel like then I can actually decide what is the game that belongs there. Now, in all fairness, it's not like when I'm playing I'm going to know exactly what games are going to be the Game of the Year awards, but I think it would be easy to guess a few of them, especially while they're playing. If they're doing really good, well, I mean, it's probably one of these games. I mean, if GTA 6 somehow releases, which, let's be honest, is probably gonna get delayed till 2027, but if it is one of the games that comes out, that's obviously going to be in the Game of the Year conversation no matter what happens. So that's one of the games I would definitely want to play, and while I would play GTA 6 regardless, it's just an example of, like, that's what I kind of want to do for this next year. I also do want to play some of the nominations for 2025 that I missed out on, because while I have not played a lot of these other games, I kind of want to. I think the reason why I never actually played any of them is because a lot of them were sequels. Like, you have Silksong, which is a sequel. You have Hades 2, which is a sequel. You have Kingdom Come 2, which is a sequel. You have Death Stranding 2, which is a sequel. So I don't know. Again, I don't know too much about these games if you really need to play the first games first, but they're literally all sequels. So to me, it was like, well, I'd rather just play one game. And, Expedition 33 was that one game where, I didn't have to play anything before. I could just hop right in. Maybe I don't have to, though. I'll definitely look into it. So I definitely want to play some of the games this year, and for 2026, I definitely want to play more. And I want to be able, this time next year, to be like, okay, wow, I actually have played all of the games recommended I've actually played all of the games in the nominees for 2026 Game of the Year. I would really love to see that. So, yeah, it doesn't mean I'm only going to play new games. I'm definitely going to play a lot of the older games I still have to finish. Like as I just said, other games I have to beat because I've beaten them games this year. Like, I still have to do Spider-Man 2 and Ghost of Yotai. If there are any games that you guys recommend that I should play, let me know. I'm actually really interested, and I would love to play games. Even if it's a game I'm like, I don't want to play that. I'll play it because I'll just stick it through, because there's games on this list where I just didn't really want to play, but I stuck through, and all great games. So, yeah, definitely let me know if there's anything you want. If you're curious, there is one game that I am planning for next year, and if you know what it is, you know what it is. But, yeah, I guess I'm going to leave it there. I think I'm going to go, like, I don't know, throw my dog out the window or something. I don't know, something like that.